Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024 Town Council meeting. Just a reminder that in case of an emergency, there's exits at the back of the room and to the side, and to please not use the elevators. And with that, we will come out of non-public.
Thank you. Madam Chair, can I make a motion to come out of non-public?
Is there a second? All right, motion and a second to come out of non-public. On the motion, Councillor Webb? Yes. Sorry. Councillor Foote?
Yes.
Councillor Flood?
Yes.
Councillor Ganesi?
Yes.
Councillor McEachern?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. We are on non-public.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes because it would affect indefinitely, because it would adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
All right, motion and a second to seal the minutes. On the motion, Councillor Webb? Yes. Councillor Foote?
Yes.
Councillor Flood?
Yes.
Councillor Ganesi?
Yes.
Councillor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. Excellent. Our roll call. Councillor Webb? Present. Councillor Foote?
Good evening.
Councillor Flood?
Hello.
Councillor Ganesi?
Good evening.
Councillor McEachern?
Good evening.
Councillor Chiricello sends his regrets he cannot attend this evening, and good evening from the chair. All right. Let's see. Councillor Ganesi, will you lead us on the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. Next up is public forum. Is there a motion?
Second.
All right. Motion to open public forum by Councillor Foote, second by Councillor Ganesi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right. Public forum is now open. The floor is yours. Just please state your name and address for the record.
Steve Trefethen, realtor on West Broadway, property owner and homeowner in Derry. A couple things. I did say I'd come every now and then to the town council and give a little update on the Exit 4A. 3 things. Number 1, I mentioned before, I think there may be 10 lots or 11 lots. 6 are non-usable. There's still no agreement to put anything together as far as a large enough tract of land to do much. We've already lost over a couple of $100,000. The next 3 years it'll be up to $500,000. We gave them $5 million. There was, I'm just touching on the highlights. It was a 3-year easements on the property so they could build within the 3 years. They extended that in 2022 without the special committee's approval to 10 years. So although they love to tell you that, well, it doesn't matter because we're going to open up the easements once we open, the reality is on my deed and every other deed it says 10 years. They can stop development in 10 years. That's first. Second, maybe something I had spoken to Mike Fowler, or I had heard from Mike Fowler a couple of years ago. I don't know if this has changed. I don't know if the town council's aware of it. I know Mike's worked real hard on it. That I believe the water is on the other side of the Folsom Road street. And I know Mike has talked to the state about having him move it over to that side so he doesn't have to continue cutting through the road. I don't know where that's gone, and maybe that's a conversation. I'm sure the town administrator and Mike have talked about it before, but I think the last I heard was that won't happen because it'll cost the state another $1 million, and they'd like us to pay for it if that could happen. It's a great idea to do that so we can get it from that side of the road instead of cutting across all the time. But welcome to the state and your hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost taxes, and every time somebody in the town tries to do something right for the town, the state cuts us off. I would just say buyer beware. That's their MO. The last thing I would say, the one piece of property they left me with, we only have 1 building left out of the 5 they took and all of our income. They also shut my water off. Now, that was, my lawyers tell me it's just to break me. They're going to try to break me. Well, I'm the only thing left to develop right there, but that won't happen. So we're going to see where that goes because that's not going to happen. But anyway, it was nice enough. I've been working with Mike and the town engineer so we can get some water back there and then get ready to develop anything we can. The project I'd like to develop, you've all seen the plans, is about 40,000 feet. If nothing happens, maybe I can do 10, and that's about it. the four lots that are left, mine has been cut down drastically. 8 Folsom Road is the last only lot, longer and larger lot, and 8 Folsom and 10 Folsom is where they put the drainage canal down. So between the slopes and the drainage canal, they didn't leave anything there. All the rest are gone. So I'm just telling you, I'm just keeping you up to date like I said I would. I am fighting for us to build something substantial there, bring people there, instead of all the work going on with Woodmont Commons. I won't pick on Dave right now, but I'll just tell you this, in their website, they mentioned Woodmont Commons and Artie DeMola and Market Basket 202 times. When we were being told we could get something out of this, we got nothing, and they don't mention Derry. So, you know, again, I'm hoping something good comes out of it, but I thought I would just update. And the last thing is I'm meeting with the town assessor tomorrow, Steve Hamilton, which has been a great guy to work with. And of course, now they took all my land and all my buildings, and my assessment says I have more land than I really do, and I don't. And what I do have, most of it, a lot of it has, a big portion of it has a 10-year easement. So I'll be discussing that with him tomorrow, but it's a real sad situation that we're losing assessment and losing tax dollars, and they're not doing anything for the town of Derry. What goes on with the administration, the police department, that whole corner, that's a separate issue. And what goes on with things that have already been proved, or possible hotels coming in the future, are coming anyway with this. The state isn't doing anything for us. So again, here we are, we're in the middle of it. Hopefully it gets better, but I will keep you abreast, and eventually I'll bring you the exact dollar amount that we have lost and what we're going to lose in the future. Thank you.
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, seeing no one else coming to the forefront, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Second.
Okay, motion to close public hearing by Council McEachern, second by Councilor Flood. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right, thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. I'm going to ask that we pull the item 2479, approval of the minutes from the August 13th meeting, since we just received those, the final copy. I'm assuming we have not, I'm assuming we have not all not read them fully yet.
Right.
So I was going to table that till the next meeting to approve those, if everyone's okay with that, since we haven't read them. All right. So if that's the case, then our consent agenda is item 2478, approval of the non-public minutes from August 13th. 2480 is resolution 2024-054 to accept a gift from the Defense Logistics Agency for the Fire Department and authorize withdrawal from the Capital Reserve Fund. There will be a public hearing scheduled for September 17th. And 2481, which is resolution 2024-053 to accept a New Hampshire Highway Safety Grant for various traffic enforcement activities, and there will be a public hearing for that also on September 17th.
So moved. Second.
All right, so motion to accept the consent agenda by Council McEachern, second by Council Granessi.
And that would be less 2479 as
Yes,
mentioned by
so-
the chair.
Yeah, that one will not be in there.
Yep.
All right, on the motion, Councilor Webb? Councilor Foote?
Yes.
Councilor Flood?
Yes.
Councilor Granessi?
Yes.
Council McEachern?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry. My brain's not functioning right this minute. So we should, on that, for those minutes, I pulled it out for that, but we should officially vote to table those as well until the next meeting.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion to table the minutes from the August 13th meeting by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Foote. On the motion, Councilor Webb? Yes. Councilor Foote?
Yes.
Councilor Flood?
Yes.
Councilor Granessi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. Having a lot of trouble with Foote and Flood tonight, I apologize. It's tripping me up. All right, next.
We'll sit them next. We'll sit them next to each other and really throw you off.
All right, next up is the chair's report. We'll start with a state primary update with our town moderator and town clerk.
Good evening. Here to talk about our primary election, which will be next Tuesday. As you can see, parking looks pretty much what it's been. There is some extra parking that's going to be open to voters by the side of the Hackler Gymnasium. We are going to have students on campus. It will be a delayed start. So they will be starting school at about 9:15. So if residents could avoid the area between 9 and 9:30, and then later on in the day, between about 2 to 2:30, while we get the kids on and off campus. That would be great. Most of our voters, we tend to get a big wave at 7 a.m., so the kids won't be anywhere to be found at 7 a.m. because it won't be, they won't be there for school. And everywhere you see in red is where the voters are parking. So there's going to be almost 500 spots available all day for parking. We will not be closing any roads for this election. So you will be able to come over by Bentley Chevrolet in towards Pinkerton. You can come up from the Rotary. You can come through the access road up through the back if you like coming that way off of Shenito Road. So all the roads will be available. Obviously, for the presidential election in November, there will be no students on campus, and we will be rerouting all the traffic as we have in the past. So are there any questions?
How's all the training going?
The training is going well. We had several in-person sessions. We had an all-day marathon training session Saturday before last, and I have a few small group makeup sessions that I'm conducting via Zoom. I had one earlier just before this meeting, and then I have 2 more on Thursday.
Cool. We all set with ballots and everything from the state, Tina?
Yep,
Everything,
the ballots are all counted. We've got, 6,200 Democrat and 9,200 Republican. We counted all the ballots on the 2nd floor on Thursday for a public meeting. We didn't have any members of the public attend, but lots of our poll workers came in to help count. And on Friday, we did our machine testing right here in this room. And we had a few people stop by and check it out. Councilor Spencer stopped in. So we are pretty much ready to go. I will tell you, we will need more poll workers for November. We definitely going to need more staff. And for the counselors that will not be working, that have not already appointed a pro tem, I'm still waiting.
Could one of you please review the handicap accessibility? Should somebody not be able to get in the building for a personal reason, for a disability, what would the options be?
So for handicap disability, there is the accessible entrance. So when you're walking towards the building, approximately where there's an R, where the field house is, that's the main entrance. Anyone who is registering to vote for the first time or needs the handicap accessible ramp can go right through that entrance and get checked in and vote that way. We will have the other entrance further down in the building for people that are already registered. But again, if you're already registered and you need handicapped access, you can go right through there. Handicap parking is going to be available right in front right there. There's going to be tons of handicap parking. If for whatever reason you cannot get out of your car, there is a statute that allows for curbside absentee. Next to the signs that are already present for Pinkerton where the handicap parking is, there will be a sign. It will have a phone number It is a 978 number because it's my personal cell phone number. So you would need to call that. I will come out to your car. I will check that you're a voter. You'll fill out the absentee ballot request form. I will bring you out a ballot. You will vote, and I will bring the ballot inside, and it'll be processed like all the other absentee ballots. And that is a statute that has been in effect for many, many years. Actually, there was someone who had broken their leg just before an election, and they didn't really know how to use their crutches, and they weren't able to get into the polling place. So that was something that came along for voters. And we do have people. Also, if you want to vote absentee, we already got some calls today. Some people have been diagnosed with COVID, want to vote. Feel free to call the town clerk's office. We are happy to walk the ballot outside to your car, so you don't need to come inside. I know it's getting close. The post office is working amazingly here in Derry. I can tell you that I am mailing out ballots, and they are literally coming back in 2 or 3 days, very, very fast. So they are doing their part here in Derry. But if you need your absentee ballot and you want to come to town hall, but you are sick, please just call us from the parking lot and we will come out and assist you. And you have until 5 p.m. on Monday to get your absentee ballot if you need one.
Can I just clarify for, you talked about the kind of start and end times for school. Polls will still be open.
Yep.
Just don't
Oh,
worry.
absolutely.
I just want to clarify for people that they're like, I needed to go at 9 on my way to work. Like, you can still come, just may
Oh.
not be the ideal time with all that traffic.
Definitely, just know that there's going to be some traffic. So the kids are going to be driving. As you can see, they're going to be parking a bunch of students on the back lot. Staff is going to trickle in, so staff's really not going to add to our parking. It's more, the students coming in and parking. It's going to be a little bit different for them. We will be parking some students off-site and busing them to school because, we wanted to have as many parking spaces as possible available for voters.
Any other questions? Thank you both. Looking forward
welcome.
to Tuesday.
Thank you.
All right. The only other thing I have under Chair's report tonight is that we wanted to announce that Council has begun the process to select a new town administrator. Dave, despite our best efforts to try to avoid it, is planning to retire on June of next year at the end of his current employment agreement. So councilors have begun meeting with Human Resources to establish a candidate profile and our recruitment timeline. We anticipate that the position will be posted around September 10th, so we should have that out soon, with letters of interest and resumes due within 30 days of posting. The goal of the council is to have the new town administrator on board as of March 1st of next year, so that time frame will allow the administrator to work with the chief financial officer on the FY26 budget, so they'll see that whole process while Dave is still here. And during that time, we'll also, kind of the incoming administrator will be able to work not only with Dave, but with our department managers and become acclimated with the organization, all of our council goals and objectives, and the community at large, so that by the time we get to June 30th, and I am unsuccessful in locking Dave in his office, that we will have a new TA ready to go. So we just wanted to make that announcement to the public, so they know that that process is happening. We're real sad to see it go, so we got to find someone good. And on that, I will turn it over to you, Dave, for the TA report.
Oh, thank you. I'm pleased to welcome back before the council our artist laureate, Karen Lincoln, who will update the council on activities throughout Derry as of late. Welcome, Karen.
Good evening, councilors. It's nice to be here this evening. I have some updates about what the Public Art Committee has been doing over these past few months here. So we have some ongoing projects that require upkeep every couple of years. The Robert Frost poem on the rail trail is one of those. So we had the biannual stenciling completed. That included volunteers from the Public Art Committee, the Town of Derry, and the Economic Development and DPW. Student volunteers from Pinkerton and from other schools. Miss Greater Derry joined us, volunteers from the Derry Rail Trail Association, and members from the public. So it was a great mix. And it was a really nice morning. We finished it in about 3 hours, so we've kind of got it down to a good system. And as we were, finishing it, every person that came by had a compliment. They all said thank you, how much they enjoy it. So it's really, really a treasure. So we appreciate your support in that. We've also repainted the crosswalk at the Derry Homegrown, at the farmer's market. That's what, yep. So that was recently completed, again, with some Pinkerton student volunteers. And as well, thank you to the Derry Police Department for helping us out with traffic control on that one. And there's some corrections that are being made to the Alan Shepard mural, just a few minor corrections detailing dates and the spellings of names, and as well, as usual, keeping historically accurate requires editing, a lot of editing. So that continues. And so newly done here at this point is the mural part of a collaboration with the Derry Fire Department. And they had wanted a mural that is an 80-foot retainer wall. It's in between the Central Fire Station and Hoodcroft Golf Course. The Hoodcroft Golf Course uses the other side of that to store mulch and things like that. In front of this 80 feet is actually the Derry Loop bike path, which is, some might not be aware, but it's not a part of the Rail Trail Association. It's Derry's own loop bike path, and it goes straight past here. So this had been a very overgrown, it was weeds and vines, and there was a chain link fence that was all falling down. It was, not the friendliest of places. The fire department cleaned it all out, got all those weeds out of there, and with volunteers from groups from the upper room, again, our student volunteers, and just community volunteers, again, helped fill that wall, painted it white. We filled all the cracks, and then painted sort of like a holding pattern on it while we got our act together as to what the design would be. And then this summer, we painted the design on the wall. And where we're at now is you can see there's about 4 feet of sort of raw dirt right in front of that mural. And then that is where, and then right there is the asphalt path. So we're working currently on finding partners to help us sort of scrape all that area flat. We'd like to maybe put down fabric and rocks or something so that weeds can't grow back and kind of overcome that area again. And it'll keep the path clear for pedestrians and bicyclists, because that path is actually used quite a bit back and forth to Pinkerton, as I've noticed painting it. Anyway, so that's where we are. So this is the point where we're at right now. There's a few little details that are going to get finished on this mural. And as you can see, it depicts essential workers and first responders. And it takes you through what all those are. And there's little spots in Derry that you will recognize, like the water treatment plant and communication tower and stuff like that. So let's see. Yes, so, yep, I've covered. So we're going to have an unveiling planned for that for September. And again, we're looking for the labor and funding help so that we can deal with that weed control. And, oh, that's a better view of that. That's the strip that we would like to be able to control the weeds. Another thing that we have done this year is we made some giant flowers to support the Garden Club flower sale. And we are going to continue to do that. We will be unveiling some new giant flowers at Derry Fest, so look forward to that. So what's next? We are going to be sprucing up the painted bollards and rocks along the Derry Rail Trail. That's going to be including some weed control, whacking down some overgrowth. That is from Bowers Road down, sort of heading towards Derry. So that is going to be happening in September. Oh, yes, and now we're gonna, Dairy Fest is coming up soon. We are gonna have a children's craft at the table, and that's where we're gonna have some more of our giant flowers, so people can have a look at that. It's just really for joy, that's the only reason, but it's really fun. We are looking to identify our next project area. What we are looking for are high-use areas that need to be cleaned up, tidied up, painted. Those spots, they're all over every community, and where, with a little help from the business owner and the community and the town, we could really address sort of a sore spot. And it doesn't take a lot of, it really is elbow grease. It's just the willingness to do it and to be creative, because mostly what we talk about when we're doing this kind of thing is paint and patchwork and that kind of thing, and cleaning up and getting putting some elbow grease and creativity into these spots in Derry. And it really transforms people's attitudes towards being outside, walking, biking. It gets people walking, and it's, oh, that's another one that we did. That's the Adams Court. We did that last summer. And so it's a really, really effective way to bring our community together. It creates joy. It creates a social currency that is really lovely. It brings people together from all different parts of life, different ages, different backgrounds that you wouldn't otherwise manage to find, but they all have this in common, and it's really continuing to be a delightful thing to do for me. So yeah. I'm very grateful for the support, the continued support that I get in these projects. And yeah, if there's any questions, happy to take some questions. Otherwise, that's our update for now. And always looking for volunteers. Nobody needs to know how to do any art. All we need are people who are they're willing to desire and to imagine a more vibrant and beautiful community, and are willing to put in the work. That's all that's required. So that's it from me.
Thank you so much. Questions? Yep.
I have a question. The mural at the Central Firehouse, I love it. I have to ask a question. Where did you get the characters from? Because I have an idea.
I'm sorry, what?
On the mural that's showing up there, the characters, any idea where they got the characters from?
Are you saying that some of them might look like some
I'm thinking
people
like Simpsons and Bob's Burgers, because I see groundskeeper Willie there.
Okay.
I think it's, I saw that, and that's what I first thought, and I go, I love it. It come out really good, and that's something that definitely can show, people are going to look at, showcase. And there's actually one of the Marge's sister there in the red, in the
oh, you're
in the green.
Yeah, there's
I'm a
some
Simpsons,
Easter eggs.
I'm a
There's
Simpsons cartoon
definitely-
guy, so that come out awesome. I just had to say that.
Oh,
That
thank
come
you
out
so
awesome.
much. Yeah, there are some Easter eggs in there for sure.
I caught them all.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
awesome though. Everybody did a great job. So
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amazing.
I'm glad to see that Councilor Ganassi is keeping busy during retirement.
yeah, well,
He's up on his cartoons.
there's nothing else to do when you're retired. At least I pay attention.
A couple of issues on the public works activity. I'm sure you're all aware of the tragic incident in Hampstead regarding a citizen with a mosquito-borne disease. Just for the public's awareness is that the council has approved the budget every year, which includes mosquito control here in Derry. And it's really 3 different phases. First, it's larviciding in the spring, in which they actually actively spray areas in which mosquitoes are known to breed. And then throughout the summer, we go through a process of actually, our contractor does, of trapping and testing mosquitoes to see if any are infected, either with West Nile virus or Triple E. And although we do budget for, they call it adulticiding, it's spraying, we haven't had to be able to do that for the last 7 or 8 years. However, we're going to continue to monitor it through the year. We may have to spray this year, but we will notify the council. Usually occurs in September, early October, during the spraying season. So we'll notify the council as to where we are with respect to those projects. Also, you may have noticed that Franklin Street is now open. The culvert's been replaced, paved, and Public Works, I understand, is very pleased with the work. And also, finally, in a project coordinated by the Director of Public Works and HR, I hope you'll join me in congratulating a long-time co-worker, Clint Havens, who has earned a promotion to the Superintendent of Operations position. That's been held by Alan Cote for a number of years. Clint will work with Alan in November, December, and assume leadership in January. And as you know, Clint is a season ticket holder at the council meeting, so
Oh, yeah.
Clint, congratulations.
Congratulations.
On the finances, we're only 2 months into the fiscal year, so it's difficult to develop any kind of trends. However, there are currently no concerns on revenues. If you've been by Central Fire Station construction, it's great seeing the projects now going vertical with virtually all the steel has been manufactured and erected, so they're moving forward. And presuming a normal winter, we should be in that building in about a year from now, and hopefully if the weather cooperates, maybe a little bit sooner. Regarding the police station, the council's priority goal this year was to start looking at the space needs for the police department. So the chief and I will be presenting at your next meeting with a plan to secure the services of an architect and engineer to start looking at space needs. This is going to be a long-term project, and to actually start providing some cost estimates of how this project may evolve. Related to that, the town recently received an offer to purchase a strip of land at the police station to facilitate the Exit 4 corridor construction. Mike Fowler looked at it from an engineering perspective. It is now down in assessing regarding the purchase price. So we expect we'll return to the council with a consent agenda item at the next meeting if our negotiations are completed with the state, to accept those funds and to place those in a new police facilities capital reserve fund to go to pay for engineering and design and eventually hopefully contribute to the construction of an expansion of the police station. So we're looking forward to kicking off that project. And congratulations to Chief Fioli. The department was officially awarded a $586,000 grant for body cameras through a congressionally directed appropriation, and will now begin the process of procurement through the Federal Department of Justice. Regarding the planning department, as you know, our long-term planning director retired last week, and we welcome back our long-serving planning assistant, Liz Robideau, to assume leadership of the planning department. And staff continues to work with the potential development of 19 Elm Street. It's advanced to the technical review committee phase. And as you know, it's a tough property to develop, so environmental remediation, a hurdle, continue to be the most challenging obstacle to redevelopment. But we've got a meeting on that again this week. So that is my report for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Clint. Can I ask one question, Dave, just on the mosquito bit, because I know people are a little touchy right now with all that. We're continuing to monitor, is that we're continuing to test mosquitoes, or what does that monitoring look like to determine when we would spray?
Well, it's my understanding that they continue to trap and test mosquitoes to see if they are infected. And Mike has the next agenda item, so if Mike has more to share on that, I'm sure he will. Thanks, Mike.
Well, then we'll just bring Mike on up. All right, thank you very much. All right, we have 3 public hearings this evening. So the first one is item 2468, resolution 2024-048, to apply for and accept grant funding for the Rand Shepherd Hill Barkland Acres Water Extension Project.
Good evening, Mike Fowler, Public Works Director, and I think in the meantime, while I'll invite Tom Carrier up here to talk about this project as well, I just want to make a quick statement on your question about the mosquito program. So our health department, Courtney Bogart, is in touch with the state authorities. There's a newsletter and an advisory that goes out more frequently now that has all the statistics about the numbers of tests that have gone throughout the state. But since basically about August, we've been starting to really monitor some things. There were some communities in Massachusetts that had heightened their threat levels. So we've been on that for probably the last 3 weeks, and as David mentioned, it's an ongoing project. It's not something that just starts today. It starts back in the springtime when they go and look at the larviciding. It's an annual program that the town council supports. I would say that one thing we have to acknowledge is even when we've done adulticiding in the past before, it's been at spot location. So it has not been a town-wide where you take a truck like they used to do 30 or 40 years ago and go throughout the neighborhoods. This program is extremely targeted where we look at, coordinate with the schools, with the parks, and all of the other affected users. And so that would be a very targeted program, not a town-wide spraying. So we've reached out to our vendor. They have a slot for us if we were to decide to, but at this point, I think we would like to continue to monitor. I know the Parks and Recreation Department have been getting some inquiries from parents about, hey, my kid plays football, my kid plays soccer. We're standing out here at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, and those are the common times after work for most of the practices and the teams that are out there. But as it stands right now, we're going to take a lot of guidance from the state and continue to monitor that. So that's the latest update. If there's any questions, certainly feel free to funnel those through Dave, and we'll try to get some responses back. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I know there's been some worried folks, rightfully so, and so understanding what the process is very helpful. And you just brought back, I don't know if anybody else had that flashback to childhood with the trucks coming by all of a sudden. That was awful. All right, moving on, sorry.
Okay, so now we'll start in on the public hearing. So as everybody's aware, out on the Shenito Road corridor, the town is looking to extend water mains out to the Rand Shepherd Hill and a couple of other nearby Barkland Acres and Morningside Drive. So we had been into the town council a couple of years ago to secure the initial funding. Costs had gone up over the last couple of years, as everybody's aware. We had talked to the town council about some of those challenges. In the meantime, Tom was involved with reaching out to New Hampshire DES and found some opportunities that will help close that funding gap so that we can proceed with this project. There's some time dependency here to move forward. We're trying to get the first phase in before the Exit 4A, what we call the B contract. So we're trying to get that off the ground for 2025, and then the subsequent construction can wait to go concurrent with the Exit 4A project, but we're still going to evaluate how that fits in and would impact traffic. So for tonight, there's two resolutions that we have to adopt, and I'll hand it over to Tom to go through some of the details on that.
Good evening, councilors. Come on. Am I on? Testing? Hello? The request tonight is to get council authorization to accept and expend a grant under the Emerging Contaminants Small Disadvantaged Community Program from EPA in the amount of $1,704,250. That is a funding shortfall between our original 2022 master plan estimate for the Rand Shepherd Hill project and the current 2024 revised cost estimate, which was based on more recent bids for similar type projects. When we realized that we had the shortfall, we explored a couple of options. One was the most obvious option was to not include the Barkland Acres system in the project. That involved replacing all of those water mains and services in order to interconnect it with the town public system. Barkland Acres Association actually reached out to the state. The state came back to us and recommended that we apply for this grant that really is targeting PFAS contamination, which arsenic was the original contaminant that we were addressing at Barkland Acres. PFAS was later realized. So this program targets that particular contaminant. So we applied for that grant on behalf of the Barkland Acres Association. We were awarded the grant. There is a condition to the grant, and that is that some of those funds necessary to offset the betterment assessment that the council approved to levy against the Barkland Acres Association, which was their cost share to replace all of their water lines and services in anticipation of the interconnection project. That does increase the net cost to the town by a little over $387,000. We were anticipating a revenue of $15,000 a year from the Barkland Acres assessments. We do recommend that the council move forward in accepting the grant, the $1.7 million. The $15,000 annual revenue gap will be addressed in the operating budget that will likely be FY26, FY27, when the first loan payment will become due on the project. So the loan amount stays the same. We will come forward to the council with a proposal to rescind the betterment assessment against the Barkland Acres. That was about $556 per resident per year. That goes away. Should the council approve those two, the accepting of the grant and the rescinding of the betterment, the state will move forward with awarding the grant. If we choose to leave the assessment in place, the intent of the state is to award the grant directly to the Barkland Acres Association, with the residual funds to come toward the town to offset the funding gap. So it nets out the same either way. So again, we recommend that the council move forward with accepting the grant, and we will come forward presumably at the next meeting to request them to request you to rescind that betterment assessment.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to open public hearing.
Second.
Motion to open public hearing by Counselor Foot, second by Counselor McEachern. On the motion, Counselor Webb? Yes. Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Public hearing is now open.
Just one question, because I heard Shenito Road. I'm not familiar with the two projects, but Mike, does that have anything to do with water getting close or down North Shore, or is it already there? North Shore Road? Just not too familiar where we are with the water there.
So what this project entails, it would start just around the area of the Irving gas station on Shenito Road, work its way through to Route 102, then it's going to turn east on 102. It will pass by North Shore Road, but there's no intent at this point to connect, or, because obviously everybody's on wells out in that area. The project will continue eastbound for another 1.5 miles, 2 miles out to Faith Drive, Londonderry Drive, and that's where the connection point is for this project.
So would that be a benefit in the future, maybe, just because we'll have it down by North Shore if we decide to do that someday?
Correct, and that would be something in a master plan process the council could evaluate in terms of, future requests from residents or needs within the neighborhood.
And that might be, so I would be definitely for this. That might be a big thing for North Shore, because we're all on the lake and we all have well. And the way that is, everything's close to the water, and maybe town water would alleviate doing things right next to the lake, which I guess now we should be back like 100 feet or something. So I'm definitely in favor of that. So anyway, that's my thought. Thanks, Mike.
Move to
Is
close.
there anyone online?
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
Move to close.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Foot to close public hearing, second by Counselor McEachern. On the motion, Counselor Webb? Yes. Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
Yes.
And Chair votes yes as well. Public hearing is closed. Counselors, do you have any questions or comments?
Pretty straightforward.
Go for it.
Oh, you want me to read it? Okay, I will. Resolution 2024-48, to apply for and accept ARPA/EC SDC grant funding related to the Rand Shepherd Hill Barkland Acres Water Quality Improvements Project, where Section 915 of the Town Charter authorizes the Town Council to apply for and accept and expend funds received from the state, and whereas the Town Council previously adopted Resolution 2022-078, which appropriated funds for water quality improvement for the Rand, Shepherd Hill, and Barkland Acres, and whereas cost increases have exceeded the amount of funds available for the project, and whereas additional grant funding from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services is available to the town of Derry to defray these additional costs, now therefore be it resolved that the town administrator is hereby authorized to sign grant applications and agreements with NHDES and accept an additional amount of $1,704,250 through the EPA's Emerging contaminants in small or disadvantaged community program to augment the resources authorized under Resolution 2022-78. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage. Excuse me.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counselor Foot. On the motion, Counselor Webb? Yes. Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Granessi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
I am going to abstain because I live in Bachland Acres.
All right, and chair votes yes, motion passes 501. All right, next up is item 2469.
Yeah.
Resolution 2024-049 to amend a loan agreement with NHDES for water quality improvements. DPW Director Mike Fowler presenting again.
All right, so same staff report was utilized for the second resolution in front of the town council. Basically, this resolution is meant to basically reaffirm and make sure we can move forward on the SRF funding that you had already approved at the initial stage of this project. Tom, anything else to put into this?
The original grant agreement required that the funds be expended before December of 2026 because of the timing of the project. DES had recommended that we extend that date to December of 2027.
Move to open the public hearing.
All right, motion to open public hearing by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Foot. On the motion, Counsel Webb? Yes. Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Flood?
Yes.
Counsel Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, public hearing is now open.
Anybody on?
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
Seeing no one rise internally, I'll move to close the public hearing.
All right, motion to close public hearing in a second. On the motion, Counsel Webb? Yes. Counsel Foot? Yes. Counsel Flood?
Yes.
Counsel Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, public hearing is closed. Councilors, any questions or comments?
Seeing none, I'll read the resolution, but I would point out to
I noticed that.
town clerk, the number of $1,704,240 in the previous resolution is not written out in that. So I just want to make sure, is the number $1,704,240? 250. That's the right number, right?
It's just the words say $500,
Yeah,
the
so you
number
just-
says
You may
250,
want to
so we
just
just
look
have
at
to
the
clarify.
words, Tina, on that one, just grammatically. Thank you, appreciate it. The new resolution being requested, Resolution 2024-049, to amend the loan agreement with New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for water quality. Whereas the town charter establishes the town council as the appropriating authority for the town, and as such is empowered by Section 9(6) of the charter to make supplemental appropriations after the annual budget is adopted. Whereas the water department presented information to the council during FY23 budget process identifying water division priorities to address substandard water quality, including the Bachland Acres, Rand, Shepherd Hill, Morningside Drive community water systems, and whereas the town council pursuant to Resolution 2022-078 appropriates $6.11 million for this project, and whereas the town recently received updated construction cost estimates which require additional resources which are needed to provide through the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services grant under Emerging Contaminants in Small or Disadvantaged Community Program, receipt of which was approved by the town council under Resolution 2024-048, and whereas the circumstances are anticipated to impact the original project schedule, now therefore be resolved that the town council pursuant to Municipal Finance Act, RSA Chapter 33, hereby restates and reaffirms the authorizations granted under Resolution 2022-079 and agrees with the revised completion date of 12/21/27. Resolution has been adopted by a majority of the entire town council and shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
Motion by Counsel McEachern, just to clarify, the date is 12/1/2027.
12/1, oh,
not
I'm sorry.
12/20, that's okay.
Thank you.
Second by Counsellor Foot. On the motion, Counsel Webb? Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Flood?
Yes.
Counsel Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
I will again abstain for my previous reasons stated.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 501. my math was off for a minute.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
And to
both.
be clear, I'm actually not on the system. I do have a private well, but it is my neighborhood.
All right, next up, we have number 2470, Resolution 2024-050, to accept a gift from Hero Pups for the Police Department Comfort Dog Program. Police Chief George Feely presenting.
Good evening, councilors. I first appeared before you in July to seek approval to embark upon a Comfort Dog program. The council granted such approval. Then at that time, I told you that I was working on corporate sponsorship to fund the program. I then came back, things unfolded rather quickly. I then came back in August and announced that AT&T had offered to fund the entire cost of the program. By doing so, they will pay directly Hero Pups for the acquisition of the dog and training. So the last piece of that puzzle is for the council to accept the gift from Hero Pups when they eventually turn ownership of the dog over to the town of Derry Police Department. And that, I anticipate, will be this spring, perhaps. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Second.
All right, motion to open public hearing, seconded by Counsel McEachern. On the motion,
We
Counsel
knew
Webb?
what you meant.
Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Flood?
Yes.
Counsel Γνessy?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Public hearing is now open.
Madam Chair, seeing none, rise online.
And second.
All right, motion to close public hearing and a second. On the motion, Counsel Webb? Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Flood?
Yes.
Counsel Γνessy?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Councilors, any questions or comments?
No, great program.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this program.
Thank you.
Okay. Resolution number 2024050, to accept a gift from Hero Pups for the Police Department Comfort Dog Program. Whereas RSA 3195E authorizes the town council to accept gifts other than money to be used for public purpose. Whereas the town council indicated its support to start the Comfort Dog Program at the police department. Whereas AT&T has graciously offered to underwrite the startup costs of the program. Whereas AT&T will reimburse Hero Pups directly for the expenses. And whereas the anticipated cost of the program would exceed $5,000, now therefore be resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to accept a gift from Hero Pups for the police department Comfort Dog Program made possible through the generosity of AT&T. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
Motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Foot. On the motion, Counsel Webb? Yes. Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Flood?
Yes.
Counsel Γνessy?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to new business, we have Resolution 2024-051 to create an expendable trust fund for the Police Department Comfort Dog Maintenance and Replacement. Chief Feely again.
Thank you. Once again, as we developed this Comfort Dog program, that generated a fair amount of interest in the community to provide monetary donations to the town to support that program. We don't have an account established for that purpose, so I seek to gain approval to establish a trust fund specific to the Comfort Dog program so that any monies we received can be appropriately accounted for in that fund and for future expenses to offset taxes in the future. Can I answer any questions?
I just had one question. Does the way the resolution's worded says the town administrator can accept donated gifts, legacies, and so legacies kind of leads to, it sounds like a larger gift. So normally when we have a larger gift or donation, that has to come back. Does passing this resolution mean that we wouldn't have to go through the process as a council of approving those, right? That
That's
they
correct.
would just be taken care of?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Honor. Dash 051, to create an expendable trust fund for the police comfort dog maintenance and replacement. Whereas Section 9.6 of Town Charter empowers Town Council as a legislative body of the town to create a trust fund pursuant to RSA 3119A. whereas the town council, under resolution 2024-050, has accepted a gift of a police department comfort dog, and whereas the program has generated significant community interest, including from those who may wish to donate funds to support the program, and whereas the two expense categories typically associated with this program include care and maintenance expenses and a replacement fund once the comfort dog is retired. Now therefore be it resolved in council that an expendable trust fund, to be known as the Police Department Comfort Dog Maintenance and Replacement Trust Fund, is hereby created pursuant to RSA 3119A, with the town council designated as agents to expend. Further, that all donations, unless specifically otherwise directed, be allocated equally between maintenance expenses and comfort dog replacement. Finally, the town administrator is authorized to accept privately donated gifts, legacies, and devices for this purpose pursuant to RSA 3119A 9, adopted September 3rd, 2024.
Second.
No, I'm sorry, 4. 4, my bad.
I'll second that also.
You still second that one?
You get the
All
point.
right. I wasn't going to correct your
Yeah, he was
Roman
close.
numerals.
He was close.
All right, motion by
of
Counselor
the
Foot,
numbers.
second by Counselor Granessi. On the motion, Counselor Webb? Yes. Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Granessi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
For 4 and 9, yes.
And the chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. All right, next up is item 2483, Resolution 2024-052, to transfer funds for police department equipment. Third time's a charm. Chief Feely again.
Thank you.
He's still here.
The last agenda item for me this evening deals with kind of an emergency expense for the police department, one we had not anticipated in our FY25 budget. Bit of history, back in 2006, we built an addition in the current facility, and in that addition, we built a new evidence room, and we installed a then modern system of pass-through lockers for our evidence room, where officers access a facade of a modular system from an open public space for the officers. They put evidence into it, and then on the inside of the evidence room, the evidence technician accesses that evidence from the backside of the locker system. So it's called a pass-through locker system for evidence. Part of that modular system includes refrigerated storage for refrigerated evidence that needs to be refrigerated. That system is 18 years old. That system is now failing. The refrigerated portion of the system is failing. We need to replace that refrigerator. It is not an inexpensive project. It's in excess of $18,801. With that replacement, we will, because we have to replace the floor-to-ceiling system, if you will, in that modular system, we're going to put in some more modern, I guess, USB-powered storage in the upper, above the refrigerator portion, in those lockers above that refrigerator portion. So that officers that come in with digital evidence that needs to be powered by USB source, we can then plug them in and power them in the evidence room, in the evidence storage, temporary storage lockers. So, as I said, I did not anticipate this expense in FY25. I've identified monies in our federal drug forfeiture account. We have in excess of, I think, $24,000 in that account. And I seek to transfer $18,801.32 from that account into the Police and Machinery and Equipment Fund so that I can facilitate that acquisition and repair. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. It's needed, we need to do it.
That's a difficult question to ask. It's really based on a case-by-case basis and how much is involved in each case. I can't tell you how much on average. I haven't looked at that.
Madam Chair, seeing no question, any other questions from the council, I'll read the resolution. Excuse me. Resolution 2024-052, transfer funds for police department equipment. Whereas Section 9.7 of the Town Charter empowers the Town Council to transfer any unencumbered appropriations balance, whereas the police department is required to maintain evidence which at times requires specialized equipment, And whereas the police department's evidence refrigerator is currently failing, as in need of immediate replacement, and whereas the town maintains a federal drug forfeiture fund to be used in support of law enforcement activities, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town administrator is authorized to transfer the sum of $18,801.32 from the federal drug forfeiture fund to the police department machinery and equipment line item to complete this purchase. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
Second.
All right, motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Ganesi. On the motion, Counsel Webb? Yes. Counsel Flood? I see, knew I'd do it eventually. Counsel Flood? Yes. Counsel Foote?
Yes.
Counsel Ganesi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. I knew it was coming. I could feel it. Thank you very much.
Council.
All right, next up, 2484, Resolution 2024-055, to authorize the town to apply, receive, and expend a grant from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for milfoil treatment. Director of Public Works, Mike Fowler, presenting.
Okay, so staff report's been generated for 2 consecutive items on your agenda for new business. The first one will relate to Resolution 2024-055, which is for the town administrator to be given authorization to accept a grant fund from New Hampshire DES to support milfoil treatment at Beaver Lake. Just some real quick background on it, just for both items. So in around 2020, the town of Derry became the agent to apply for grant funds. There's 3 portions of funding that make up this program, which is done on an annual basis, usually in June or July. But essentially, New Hampshire DES provides a portion of the funding. BLIA, also in their interest, provides some funding, and then the town picks up the other portion of that. So the staff report elaborates as to the strategy in terms of which entity is paying which portion, but it's a great partnership. The 3 groups are in sync and want to support the continuing milfoil eradication efforts at Beaver Lake. It's been a very successful program, and we want to continue that. What we're applying for now is going to be an application, or not an application, but the actual milfoil treatment will go into place for the 2025 summer season. So 2024 has been completed. It was very successful. The grant opportunity is available to us now, so we'd like to get that out of the way and get the paperwork done so that we get ready to go for next summer. So other than that, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Any questions? Yep, Counsel Webb.
Not that the town is involved with, and not that I'm aware of. We have, to my knowledge, we've not been asked to participate in any of those programs. With the only thing we are doing at Island Pond is we are in the midst of a study that we'd come to town council on as far as helping to look at chemical loading like phosphorus and nitrogen, but nothing in terms of milfoil at this point.
Any other questions?
Seeing no questions, Madam Chair, I'll read the resolution. 2024-055, to authorize the town to apply, receive, and expend a grant from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for milfoil treatment. Where Section 5.1 of the Charter designates the town council as the governing and legislative body of the town, whereas Section 915 of the town charter authorizes the town council to accept grant funding, and whereas milfoil is an invasive aquatic weed which has been introduced to Beaver Lake, and whereas left untreated, milfoil will continue to grow, damaging the lake and potentially negatively impacting property values, and whereas it is the best interest of the Beaver Lake Improvement Association and the town to eradicate milfoil from Beaver Lake, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to apply for, accept, and expend up to $8,815 in grant funds from the Department of Environmental Services and execute all necessary documents to provide for milfoil treatment at Beaver Lake. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
All right, motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsellor Foote. On the motion, Counsellor Webb? Yes. Counsellor Foote? Yes. Counsellor Flood? Yes. Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. And was there anything else you wanted to add before the second one, or?
Nope.
It's the same, right? Okay, so we can move into 2485, which is Resolution 2024-056, to authorize the town to receive and expend a grant from the Beaver Lake Improvement Association for milfoil treatment.
Any questions? No? Okay, if there are no questions, then I'll read Resolution 2024-056. To authorize the town to receive, expend a grant from the Beaver Lake Improvement Association for milfoil treatment. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter designates the Town Council as the governing and legislative body of the town, whereas Section 915 of the Town Charter authorizes the Town Council to accept grant funding, and whereas milfoil is an invasive aquatic weed which has been introduced to Beaver Lake, and whereas left untreated, milfoil will continue to grow, damaging the lake and potentially negatively impacting property values, and whereas it is in the best interest of the Beaver Lake Improvement Association and the town to eradicate milfoil from Beaver Lake, now therefore be resolved in the council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to accept and expend up to $3,000 from the Beaver Lake Improvement to provide for milfoil treatment in Beaver Lake. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Second.
All right, motion by Counselor McEachern, second by Counselor Ganesi. On the motion, Counselor Webb? Yes. Counselor Foote?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
All right, Counselor comments or liaison reports? Yes, Counselor Foote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to touch base on, as many know, I've kind of took an endeavor in the cemetery doing a project uncovering the markers for veterans. Did that back in May, and it has kind of taken a longer format than initially thought. So basically, it was a multifaceted project. Initially, we were trying to, number one, go up there and clean out the markers that we know are there and make them nice and nice for Memorial Day and whatnot. Then the second part of that was to identify and locate and uncover those that have been overgrown or sunken down into the soil. And then the third part of that would be to polish the ones that we do find and clean. And the fourth part, and just as important, is to map out and digitally transform those locations to a user-friendly software online, which my good friend Owen over there is trying to help me out with, the software. So I've had some interest from people interested in volunteering. Owen's set up a online portal for us. If anyone's interested in still helping out, we have plenty of help that's needed. It's going to be a long-term, ongoing project. Initially, I was doing the weekends, Saturday and Sundays. My daughter's softball schedule kind of interfered with some of that in July and August, so we're back on track on the weekends now. So we're typically there, 9 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And if anyone's interested in helping out, just bring a shovel and a bucket, and we can point you in the right direction and helping out. And if you wish to reach out to me to let me know you're going to come, send me an email, or Owen can give the information on the online portal, please?
Yes, I don't have it handy right now, but if people log on to DerryCAM.org, we'll make sure that it's by tomorrow. It's featured content right there in the front. And they can sign up there, and those inquiries will go directly to you.
Thank you. And just to date, we've probably dug out maybe over 1,000 so far, and we've uncovered about 100 that were completely submerged in a lot of tedious work by some of the volunteers going through and just poking and prodding until we found them. Some of them 3, 4, 5, 6 inches down deep. I did talk to Mike Fowler about the next part of the project will be leveling those and bringing those flush with the grass. Unfortunately, some of the cemetery is wet, so hopefully it won't sink down again, but if you're interested, please reach out. We can use your help. Thank you, madam.
How many do you figure there are there, Charlie? Do you have any, no?
A couple thousand maybe. I mean, we don't know for sure, but a few thousand potentially. And there is a book that some Eagle Scouts have done in the past documenting where some of the veterans, but to my knowledge, it hasn't been updated since 1999. So there's been a lot that we've uncovered that aren't on that list. So again, that's it's kind of taking a life of its own and kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger if we open Pandora's box, but it's a good problem to have. So we'll get it figured out. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Nope.
I just wanted to say a congratulations to one of our neighborhoods in town today, the Derry Oak Village community. Councilor Granessi and I attended their ribbon cutting. They've become a resident-owned community, and they're the 150th such community in New Hampshire, and it was very nice to see a community very proud, and they showed off their community to us, and a thank you to both Senator Shaheen and State Rep Patusek for attending that as well and supporting our Derry residents. So, congrats to the Derry Oak Village.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nothing else, I can make a motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Lots of seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right, have a good evening, everybody.
Extension.